babies growing up have a lot of questions. And when they grow, those things they were questioning before, in the Accra language, they say, when they grow, they also know it. You see? So when you grow, when the connection becomes full and your aura opens out and your brain becomes complete, where was the faith? Faith which is not born out of growth. It's no faith. It's shallow. When the test comes, the person falls.
May 29. Or say, you may be a hintaye. Nyame wa esro edi hintaye. Eno ye esro dia. Ena ye wo nyama ni su bi ho a ye da ne di akire yen. Enti at every point in time no bibi ehintaw ena ese ohwehwe. Enti nkwa na owo dem ho a me wa dwen so nkwa na owo dem ho bibi wo ho. And example bi a ye ke bia no ne example wo ho. Enti wo hwe element na ye de boy ye nipa na. Obon se any fire no ye ntan ye fire ni hu wo. Eno so jeso mo ni ho. Ni aye ni edi ye ni ehu omo no ena ye nsuo ene asase. Enti no se owo honam ni mu a na you can see physical ade physical na ye be hu no physical plane ni mu no ye hu honam ene asase. Eno nkire se mframa eni ho. Enti se mefa mebrei nsu sesia na me de kire se den na hu a obeka chem se hu plastic container ena den ena nsuo ena den bio asa mframa wom eja wom ehyew wom enti 2 triple na ba ko na eka ho no ono no de otrenti ni entan bo ne nka ho ita yentan bo be nyama 4 okọ dem sesia na ubia odan na ehyew ehia enti ebribia no mo ho enti ahana ye ho no ene guru ene ye celebrate no. Into him say gurus are omotumi ascending no, they are all here with us. So let's comport ourselves. It's now or do have a pepe. Yebema ya sorry ejina ho na fi. Come our only one, Dr. Jan, into the auditorium. Clap, 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 clap. And Mrs. Jan is also here. Thank you. You are welcome. We will request your honor to take your seat as we proceed the program. Another round of applause. Please take your seats. Today's date is 17 July. 17 July, the year 2022 of our Lord. Halfway of the year. And this day is set aside as a day of gurus. Gurus are known to be masters, souls, higher souls ascending onto this plane and develop their way back to the Christians say saints. So if you come onto this plane and you get awakened, and you start your journey, and you get yourself back successfully, you become a guru. And so today happens to be a day celebrating on Guru Purnima. If I have not pronounced it well, I know at the time when our master gets to the podium, he himself will give us the right pronunciation of it. Our program outline, as we used to do, Doctor requested to be on our feet whilst we say one or two affirmations that have been given to us. But this time round, because it's a special occasion, we will do it differently. As we get onto our feet, we will request us all here, together of those we don't see with our physical eye, to give a deep breath. In, out, 3 times, so that we can proceed our exercise. So let's be on our feet. And this is an honor to Ascending Masters. We are giving them honor. They have taken our master through exercise for him to get to where he is. And therefore, we give above as below. We give breath. So let's get ourselves together by we closing our eyes. Deep breath. Go out. Breathe out. The last one is very deep. Out. Thank you. You may sit down. Now, we want to see just brief introduction. Young who say, yeah, you're one member of the reps. And I said, Nene da edi kanya or basa program or how my young oh, well, and you'll be our register. So I register. Next year, rep. Nemo be on register. Nemo and any day they can open Wabishia and program. Okay. Yamuni na kwaba. Yinamuna kwaba. Yamuna kwaba. Mosua more and not mashe and a montuna sin so Yamamoso akwaba. Na any date no. One check date no. You should be checking the dates. Because science shall follow you. Today is 17 July. It happened to be 8. And you know the meaning of 8. It's an infinity number. And the year is 6. So the soul raise their hand as above. So it's a special day. That's why it's no me that a visitor also descended today among our mess. But you know, I think she's going to, either he or she is going to be also a guru one day. Let's put our hands together. So, we have a presentation to do for our master. And before then, let me give you just a brief of why we are here, the purpose we are here. Send a message as a kind, at every stage, piano. Instrument kesibi esane eba yasase so. Na intiasia enye adwuma nipa nyama afrafra mu no na obasane sane wabesane mu na no de akere na okọ ehwa na nsem no esan bofra na otiti bi so aba na wo hwe epue east this way baby you ani pue no your gurus are omo pie efi ho ana ye hwe west so a your gurus are enso epie nti wo hwe west a ye wo obi Moses ye bebo Abraham ye bebo Jesus Christ, yebo Paul, and in Accra. Oko Easter, and also ye we teach you ho Krishna no more in people. And I'm say, your master, if East, maybe you PNT no, and ne, ye na the Bessan sorry you. Whilst we invite our sister Audrey to now file in. We request our master to be on the beat. Mr. Dr. Jain and Mrs. Jain, as we present this honor to him for his selfless preservation, perseverance, endurance, and many more, be on this planet to this far. Let's now observe the presentation. We now honor you to sit. We have Montreal. Sorry. Yeah, when you are not me, say, yes, you want. Say, oh my, just short word of citation. 3 minutes. And the first on our list is our dear brother, Evangelist Peter Amponsa. Let's give him a hand now.
I was here for the Mayina Yahweh. And there, a darkest year at the Ma Yina. A sansu ya darkest year, oh, ya sassy so. Say, Great Spirit, and nam ya papaso, na Yina Yabishiawa. And I know Training Christ the Casimbi. Or say, no one send baby a catch remo. Now, I'm a canny says here, moon to me. And so, me kasa me di ya papa ho adanse a adaje beboyen minim se ya wa hanso bia won ho asemeka na kakra bi na mepese meka na ye nyina ya hunu nipa ban a anase nipasu a ya hia no e wa ha edikan me hu ya papa be ye emfie mienuni na emfie mienuni mu no dia papa yi Great Spirit and nam ne so a me manya me experience minim se won so wo experience de da bia ya na ka se mi se e mo bi experience en ya wo de na mo ma wan kasa wo experience en ya wo de nti a me kasa ne se e wi ase na ya ba ye no in fact na me wo me ho question bebre bisa na hwan ne obeyi ano ama me na se hwan no obi a obeyi me nsama no na me nyobi nti sani ada bia ye papa ka se twere no ya twere se seek and you shall find na okra ne epre hwehwe na ye behia papa yi na me hia papa yi no eba ne honam famu a no kwasem papa ayo bi a Great Spirit ede ne acha yen bon sam kese ma no ma me sa asembia ni asasi su a ubebisa papa onya no yem fama ni etosu biem papa yo bi a eba no abotre awo nipa ho onya abotre mo bia etoda bia na me bisa me ho se anka ye hweba bia ye papa amfi adu otumi gina na na mo nso ekasa almost some hours omle eti obia asem enya abotre mo bia we di adanse e wono ho se ye nyina ye wo ha ya konsolida edi adanse wono ho se wo hwe twere ni mu a Christ eba ye no senia na obele ne ho ase owotima owojo edemo bia the same thing na ewe ye papa mu ye hu difference enti dia make biem ni se ba enkyerɛkyerɛ nso a ɔde abrɛ yɛn anase ɔde aba asase so a yɛn na yɛdi akyira a moma yɛn som yie Yinti ameka se yensom ye ni se ebra wo be sha se wudi ne nkyerɛkyerɛ so ɛne na adesua so no ɛma wo so honhom de du baabi. At the same time esiesie wo nipadua no ɛma wankasa no honhom wo behunu se afei die nti a wo ba asase so no afei na wo hunu. Enti papa yo bi a sɛnea na wo hwɛ twiremu a tete no yeyi adiifuo bi ba, yeyi leaders bi ba, yeyi adikanfuo bi ba. Ye papa yi de metumi aka sɛ ɔkyɛn saa. Nti ameka sɛ ɔkyɛn saa ne sɛ ye wo stage obi abedu wo honhom mu. But ye papa ɔyɛ spiritual guru. Amen. Bonsam kɛseɛ ma no. Ye ka sɛ obi ye guru a anaasɛ obi a teni saa position na adeɛ bi antra no. Enti ɛyɛ ya ho anɛ sɛ yɛnya onipa kɛse a ɔsombo sei ɛwɔ yɛ mu. Nti mesere sɛ nanum asɛm ne nsɛm a ɔka ɛne nea efiri ne mu baabi a no yɛnsom yie na de yɛbedu baabi. Meda mu nyina amase.
And the next on the list is our dear sister Juliana Apia Dankwa. Give us mumbo.
Good afternoon, everybody. Where the more fine chairman say, yeah, Brad Peter can't be here, but me the Accra be home. Brofo ni tree be from more fine chairman. So the be in na e beti asie. Time I miss here, Papa, no, that was around May 2021. Na my fair full Accra. Now I started spiritual journey in Accra, but said the in him no a quine also into nam me quine and be share papa. And like any other normal Ghanaian woman on him. Superstitions be brave. I am shishie be brave. Family issues, some juma issues, especially a working mother. Wawari, owoba, assign him. So just like any other normal Ghanaian woman, I was going through all those issues. And na me wo UK. And na minya papa number. Me frey e jabo aten ne fire. And na me ne kasaye. No so meeting ne papa kasa. Na time I me doctor e kasa wiye no. One thing I me notice here was the humility and the peaceful nature around him. It is said, dear, when you na to ese problem na ira, ese bibian poni honu mubim. That was one of the first things me experience here with doctor. Edidi mwa na me start say practices ye start say or church na or church practices na ye diston kakran. And yes, problems no na me experience no ekoye. But once na me ankasa me hu ye and say you benya this some way say over fear like ehu edi hu before I me be share doctor na wo me mu okwo wo say and na wa we say and ejuma mu say afei I notice say ehu ni nyina brase na afei menya some you can say and that's one for whatever the issue is, I know it is going to be well. And then I was rising over my problems. It's not like the problems are not there. It is there, but incoming. I was rising over the problems. After whatever it is, me moving on. No problem there, but you won't affect me. It's not fear, no, not a perform. That is one thing I'm experiencing now, even as I'm here. I'm in the more passing. It's a pipe on the say, Yenya yaba a penny. Yeba be experience no more. Yebina sa a dear we a bit yummy arising above our fear. Not yet me attain your purpose, Nankasa, Yankupon, Edemaya say, Yemayan. Said the Bayer doctor so. In Shrevia, what we want, it was a yin, yes, you are a day, yin. Madame CP.
Boom. Inti asungwe ofa Muslim da say Assalamu alaikum. Oba Christian. Your friend prayed before on some Salem at the same. Oko Judaism on some shalom, peace. Na peace no so and na papa and na muntu a otu na opese ye tietie mu ne de kono is peace. Inti gurus na assemble akon no moka. So you have to be peace with yourself. One kasangasa ma sonjwe embra omu na kwan no be bie. Yenya ode wo ha. Oni ha dia na ko so o invite papa to the podium. Oni ha enti megina na name. If your honor Accra chapter of Jan Foundation, we appreciate you. Say, as above, so below. Soro, shedi na omu se ebria emu ye din sei. Enyo bia enyo okra bia na esuma na ebe ye. Na ohwe mu na omo pwente o. Menim edin a ye de fro ho de. Na mo ha de yem say Dr. Jan na yenim. Na omo suma o. Wan puputi because ebinum ba na ehunti na omo dwane ko. Intentem wugina o nanso na wonim se ekwan edwuma no eden nanso yeyi kire o woti ase se obekọ na uso mu na fin kitu mu abepem sabri mu no wagina obọhye so na esoro eni agye ho na oda ho wa honden ene nkwa eno nti na ema me kai se osibisa ne ndwum na okan no osi we are going. We are going. Heavens know where we are going. We know the road will be rough and muddy, but we shall enter, we shall go, and it will be well. And inti say what you to na rough road, muddy road, na kakra kwa be do ha esoro appreciate it yen so aye ofem no so we appreciate you nene awonwade esi ewo edai mu na minim se ye na ye o ha nyina e bi da se na adaho mfi bebre ni aka kire yamba ahyeso mi ka se 8 no 6 no raising ne nsa e di akire infinity. Me banana, I was meditating on it. That's same easy. And then how do we pick the dates? 17 years, then I pick it. Na minya tinka say, you be catch ready. You be who nintia, you pick it and 17. Inti na me hwe na me call farm na me calculate what is happening. Me hwe you say be more din. Na ye program I say ya. Ye the PA system and na ye the ye megina Accra ewo asasi so minim se enye yankwa na ye wo ha gurus abani na so on occasion like this no on baba hwe okwan a asasi appreciate Accra omo wosoro etitire wosoro ya so ha no okwan ben so na ye appreciate wo na ye kan o ye kumam deep our hearts yeni eso nyaone ye nti on that note no mo sorry in engine where was we invite our only one great master you didn't achieve na waba podium so with the hand of applause we invite you to the podium.
Repeat after me. Monkani mechi. I let go whatever blocks my peace. I let go whatever blocks my love. I let go whatever blocks my joy. I am peace itself. I am love itself. I am joy itself. That is what I am. Minrianom, beloved brothers and sisters, I may choose to speak English because now the African region people are looking for the knowledge. We have people in East Africa and some other areas. And also, overseas, we are having English speakers who have joined. And for that matter, I'll have to speak English. Nia edikai mepese mekambrofo ewo yan ya sasi so namti a abasa nse eye nimde a ekoma wiase nyina na aduru ba bia wiasefo dodo a womonte yakasa anoso omo aso nimde no mu enti eho behia se mekambrofo na womonso enya bi se obi ohana wonte brofo no a anuafo no bi ntena ne nkyɛn na wonkyerɛ no mede enase ede mamo ewo kwan a moafa so ahyia me. I thank you all for the wonderful reception you've given me. In actual fact, sometimes because of the teachings I'm giving you, which means that when you release something from you, the Great Spirit, the universe, will also give you something. Because of that, sometimes I don't even want to thank you because something is already going to come. When you give out appreciation, the universe arranges appreciation for you. When you give out love, the universe sends love towards you. What comes from you is very important. This is the reason why Jesus the Christ said, not what goes in, but what comes out is very crucial. So what is coming from you, you're spending energy. Energy is coming from you. You walk from your house. You sacrifice your energy to be here. You spend money to be here. So something from you has gone into the universe. So I wouldn't like to stress too much how I appreciate or how I thank you, because the universe will do it. One important thing I want you to note is that just as there is the cameraman and then there is the camera, there is the spirit and there is the body. So when you say you are appreciating me, not the equipment, you appreciate the spirit. When you appreciate the spirit is not different from what we call God. So you appreciate God. There isn't anything like one spirit greater than the other spirit. It is the equipment. It is only the equipment. Because in this generation, people are using a small portion which is active, a portion of the brain. And that part is concerned with only material things. And here I am, Great Spirit brings me and activates all the brain. So it's the equipment that is making the difference. But spirit is the same. I am not, when I say I mean spirit. And it's not greater than your spirit. My equipment, that is where the difference is. I want you to understand the truth. I'm preparing you so that your equipment will also function in a complete way. When your equipment is functioning completely, you cannot be sick. When your equipment is functioning completely, you know what is coming tomorrow. When your equipment is functioning completely, you know what is happening in a distance. And life is different. When your equipment is functioning completely, in actual fact, you can't be sick. You can't be angry. You can't be sad. You cannot be afraid. You cannot be anxious. It's the equipment. So, once again, the Christ was saying, I'm reminding you these things because most of you grew in Christianity. He said, if actually, like I'm saying, if your equipment comes to function completely, you may even do greater than I am doing. He said it. You have to understand. He threw a challenge to the humans at that time. But they wouldn't pick the challenge. They only say, only you can function like that. So let's call you the only one. I don't want to be called the only one. He didn't want to be called the only one. My purpose is to awaken every soul who is in tune with the teachings. And the awakening will make the portion of your brain which is inactive to start to be active. The practices I've been giving you, they are not ordinary. They increase the frequency of the other side of your brain. We have left brain and right brain. We have lower brain and higher brain. Sometimes, when you drink alcohol, when you take some drugs, it passes through the blood, it goes into the brain, and that portion which is inactive reacts a bit. And because of that, there is a wonderful feeling you get out of the drinking. Because of that, you get some wonderful feeling from the drugs. When you enter into male-female, that is the sex, it goes into that portion and shakes you up. So you feel wonderful. But, brothers and sisters, these things only touch it and leave it to come down again. They touch the place and leave it to come down again. And each person feels like, yes, that is the thing, but how will it be continuous? Then let me do it more and more, more and more. Then we become addicted. Because we want it to be continuous. We want it to awaken fully. This is inside every person. So people are looking for the right thing, but they have the wrong approach. The drinking, you do it continuously, and it won't do the trick. The drugs, you take them, and in the long run, it won't do the trick. It just triggers the place and leave it. And that place comes down. Back to square one. And then you feel like doing it again. But. We'll do. It will never let the place become activated. But there are techniques. When you do, it will be activating the place. And anytime you are doing these techniques, the place lifts a little. and it doesn't come back, it stays there. When you continue doing it, lifts a little, it doesn't come back, it's still there. When you do again, it's going up. And there is nothing in the worldly life that will achieve that. So in the long run, when it's fully activated, it never comes down anymore. And the feeling that you used to have when you take the drugs, when you drink, when you have the sex, the feelings that you used to have, you are going to have it continuous. And that is called bliss. Spiritual joy. Inexplicable. Inexplicable. Something you can't even explain to somebody. And that is the heaven. That is the heaven. When joy is expanded fully, you are already in the heaven. And that is what confirms that when you live here, the joy keeps with you because it has become permanent. And then, like attracts like, as you leave the body, you shoot to the zone that is of the same frequency. So the joy you got here, it takes you to the joy zone. It's not something you wait to die in a low frequency and go there. Achieve it here, and it decides where you go. If the brain language gives you only a small activation, that will propel you a little up when you leave the body. It's just like when we talk of rocket. A rocket goes all the way to the moon, but they can have a kind of rocket designed so that it goes beyond the moon to the planets like Mars, Venus, and the rest. How do they do it? They increase the force. When it has to go, the force that will push it has to be stronger than the one which is going to the moon. So when you achieve that thing, there is so much empowerment. So when you leave the world, it propels you very high. So it's not like just leave it undeveloped and praising so that heaven, you die, you are going to be propelled there. No, it's impractical. It's not practical. It's not realistic. It's not true. Everything is according to law. Like attracts like. So if you keep everything at a very low level, you move. The energy pushing you is weak. You don't go far. And in our Asian terminology, they will call it Samanchentren. He couldn't go far. It's just around. You see, in actual fact, you can go far. So, you cannot claim the so-called heaven just by living anyhow and believing it, that you'll be there. You're building castles in the air. When you build castles in the air in your mind, can you go and live inside it? Today, think of a castle in your mind. Then please go live inside it. How? No, it has to be real. It has to be real. So there must be growth. There must be growth. You grow towards it. So when you are growing and the brain is awakening, it is like when you have the thermometer. See, there is a mercury inside it, and when the temperature is increasing, then it will also be rising. So that is how the dormant faculties should awaken. They should awaken, rising, rising, rising. And they never come down. And drugs cannot do it. Sex cannot do it. Alcohol cannot do it. So our children growing up and they take to drinking and drugs, they want the real thing, but they don't know how to get it. So they are looking for the right thing from the wrong approach. Sometimes we think of condemning them. No. They are looking for the right thing. But where is it? They are looking for that joy, continuous joy. It is missing. Their spirit knows. The spirit knows. But it's covered up. But how to open it up? How to let it come up? It brings total difference when it happens. Some of you doing the practices, you are getting closer and closer. And it can be seen. You see, when you do it and it pushes up, then there is some powerful energy that will express itself around you. So when it pushes up again, then the energy widens out. When it pushes out more, the energy, and that energy, in fact, I would say when people are not having it, then we can say they've grown lean, spiritually speaking. People in the generation have grown lean because the light is just like this. See, it's not. When that light opens out, there is another connection. And that is where the greatest power is connected. So when people have very little, they are lean spiritually, the energy around them very small, then this one is also tiny like a thread connecting to the greatest power. When you are awakening, when the brain is activating, then this light spreading out, then this one is also becoming thicker and thicker, bigger and bigger. So it can get to the size of the finger. When it is like that, you are getting somewhere. It's not like thread anymore. When you continue, then that light upon your head widens out, becomes bigger and bigger. Then finally, it becomes so wide, joins with the divine presence. And then you can say, I and the Father are one. Because it's not a thread connection anymore. Are you with me? Because when it joins like that, you can't draw a difference. This is the Father, this is the Son. No, it's one. So, these are practical truths. It's not imaginary. When the apostles of the Christ, they believed in Christ. They believed in his miracles. And because of that belief, when they got closer, when he did miracles, they were able to do some. That is belief, but they had not grown. They were not grown. They had thin connection, very thin connection. But because of belief, when they keep closer to the one who has it, miracles start happening. But it is not their miracle. It is the one who has it, his miracle. Are you with me? So, at one point, I have been telling you, the teacher wanted them to learn. And the most outspoken among the disciples was Peter. And he always thought they were secure because they believed. They believed in him. They believed in his teachings and everything he said. Then the teacher said, well, I have to show this my disciple something. Then at one time, then he said, this night, you, Peter, you believe me, you believe my words, but my word today is that you deny me 3 times in this night. But that one, Peter said, for that one, I don't believe. I believe you, I believe everything you say, but this one, no, I don't believe. See, that means that belief is not deep. That is the first thing to understand. Believing without growing is not deep. That's something I want you to think about. They had not grown. They believed. And it's not deep belief. So somehow the challenge came and he fell. And when the master left, because their connection is very thin and their energy level very small, now they were shivering like this. Shivering. So they hadn't grown. So where was the faith? Where was the faith? Faith which is not born out of growth is no faith. It's shallow. When the test comes, the person falls. It's only when they are not tested, then they feel they're on top. We believe. When the test comes, it happened to Peter. And it happened to all the apostles, because when he left, now they were all, everyone, not even one, all of them, they were shaken. Now, what next? Somehow, by grace, that is compassion of the higher one, then he put the idea in them, prompting them, get together. So they went, got together, and then that is where growth. They had to do things that make them grow. Then their light was becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And the thread connection was becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And it got to the point that now there is that union with the higher and the lower, because it's joining, and they call it the coming of the Holy Spirit. It's not like it's in a distance and it's coming the way people think. It's already with you, but the connection is very thin. It's like a thread, like the spider's web. You see it's just like that for many people. Very thin connection with the divine. That is why we cannot hear guidance. When it comes down, you don't hear it. Because the connection, a lot of suffering, but knowledge of the truth must set you free. Must set you free. Yes. Today, we're talking about the Guru Purnima, the Teacher's Day. Most of my teachings, I have not been using the words like Guru, Purnima, like that. Because Great Spirit wanted me to start from the scratch with you. When the thing started somewhere, they have language. It's starting here, we have language. So I wanted you to have the language from here. There are many things already people know with language. When you talk of the centers in your body, they will talk of chakras. But it's the same thing. It's simple to understand it. Don't complicate it with big words. So Guru Purnima simply means the Teacher's Day. Why did they have this Teacher's Day? Because there was this Lord Buddha. Many of you have heard his name, Buddha. He was a prince. And he was living with his father, who was a great king. And they had a big palace. And the palace had very large area. So they lived in. And they had a lot of servants. If we say large area, it's not like one plot or 1 acre issue. No. The area very huge, like a complete village or town. He was an emperor. And a lot of servants. So this child was growing up, the prince, and anything he wanted to do is done for him. Dadaba. So he was growing up, and there are horses in the yard, and he will jump on a horse, and there are people to take care of him. If you make a mistake and you let him fall down, they will sack you from the place today. You know. So he was actually pampered. But as he was growing up, questions were coming in his mind. So is that all the world? The world is this palace. He doesn't know there is space. You look and it extends. It looks like beyond our wall to there is life or something goes on. What is there? You see, he thought the whole world is the compound there. He grew up not knowing anything. So one day, see, the father had given instructions, very strict. They should take care. They make sure never to let him get out of this area. Anybody who does that, something will happen to the person. So as he grew to, he became, let me say, powerful in the sense that the king's son, the only son to inherit him. So whatever he said, the people had to do. Then there were some servants he used to move around with in the yard. Then one day he told one of them, you know something, today open that gate and take me out. Then he said, hey, impossible thing you want me to do. You see, whatever you say I will do, but to take you out, that one never. Then he says, you know, the king is asleep. And I'm the next king. If I tell you something and you don't do, then trouble for you. And then this servant, he checked, and truly the king was asleep. Then he said, okay, you know, I will open, but when we move out, we're not going to keep long. We come back before he awakens. Then this man opened the door and with a horse, and he took Buddha out. So when they went out, he was seeing so many new things, forests, and then he said, let's go, I want to see more. And they went deeper and deeper and deeper, and at a point, they came across a village, a small cottage, and the people there, somebody had died, and they were crying, and they were carrying the person. Then he said, why? What is going on? Why are these people crying? What is wrong? Then he explained that one of them died. Then he said, what is meant by died? He doesn't know. He never saw anything about death. What does that mean? Explain. Then the servant was saying, when people grow old or they get sick, sometimes they die. I said, what? So die means they fail to continue living. They can't talk anymore. They can't walk anymore. They can't do anything anymore. They take their body and go and bury or cremate. They explained, the servant explained it to Buddha. Then Buddha said, no, this is making me, something. are you telling me some stories or what? Then they continue. They got to some place, some people very old, and they were holding sticks and so on. He said, what is happening to these people? Then the servant explained, when you grow, you get weak, you get old, and finally you die. Then Buddha started having big questions. So what is the meaning of life? If that is true, why should it happen like this? Why are we here? What is the purpose of life? Why do we grow old? Why do we get sick? Why do we die? A lot of questions. And the servant was calling his attention that your father, the king, might have gotten up, so let's go back. Said, nonsense. You forget about palace. I want to understand what is outside. So leave me alone. If you go home. I will continue. I want to find out what is this all about. So the servant was shivering like this because he knows when he goes to tell the king, he wouldn't know what they would do to him. And Buddha refused to go. So he got down from the horse and just started going. So this servant rushed back to the palace to report. When he reported, the father nearly collapsed. And he sent all the servants, go look for him, bring him back. So they went, but then he changed his clothing and everything and joined the beggars. If people have to be like this and so on, I want to find how they feel, what is going on. And they can't get food to eat. Me too, I won't eat. Let us all move along. Let us see. So he wanted to understand things. And he joined the beggars. They went around with begging bowl. A prince, And these people looking for him, they missed him because he had changed his clothing and joined the beggars. And they didn't expect him to be among beggars. So they didn't see him. They came back to tell the king. Now, questions. And he was looking for the answers. Went round. And he saw that even with these beggars, still I can't get the answers to my questions. So what should I do? So at some point, he went far to some place alone. And he sat under a tree and said, if the answer doesn't come, I am not moving. So he sat down. Sometimes you've seen some of these Eastern postures. He sits on the cross legs. He sat like that and said, if the answer doesn't come, I'm not leaving. Even if anything will happen, let it happen. So he was in that state. And you see, sometimes people do practices without knowing. Because he was sitting in that posture and he had blocked the circulation of blood to the lower region. So the blood was going into his head region and giving him very deep concentration. And once he was doing that, he took his mind away from palace matter and all the comfort. He left the comfort zone. See? So he had to be in this position. And he was there like that until the day which has been chosen as Teacher's Day. It was the day that the thing opened. That empowerment, the union with the divine, and all of a sudden answers to all questions. No question, no answer. You come to that state, it's questionless state. And before then, he was called Gautama. And he wasn't called Buddha. The word Buddha it's just like the word Christ. It's just a title. Later on, they gave him that the one who has realized the truth. Are you with me? So, once again, it was through practice. Even though he did it without the mind of practicing. He just sat down and decided, I'm not going anywhere until the answer comes. Even the mosquitoes will bite him, he doesn't mind. So he was focused. He wasn't thinking there will be wild animal or anything. He was just there, focused, until the thing, which in other terminologies you call it Holy Ghost, Holy Spirit. The union with the divine happened. And there, yes, he had gotten answers to everything. Now he understood how things came about, the whole existence, and our purpose here. Everything, no question anymore, everything answered in just that state. So, that day is what we call Guru Purnima. And the mystery is that, you see, nothing happens by accident. It happened on the full moon day. When the moon is increasing size, it was also increasing that thing, which was thin, the thin line. The moon increasing size, that thing too was increasing size. So the full moon day, he had gotten full connection. And that day happened to be historic day. And from that day, he was called Buddha. You see, when he got from there straight to the beggars, he didn't go to the palace. Straight to the beggars, and then he sat with them, and then he started speaking. And the speech was something else. Then the beggars said, no. This man was with us before, but he's not ordinary anymore. The way he's speaking, they threw their begging bowls and they stayed with him. Throughout, they became his first disciples. Beggars, they were his first disciples. They sat among him. And then they were the ones who mentioned, oh, he's now Buddha. Buddha means Buddhi. Buddhi means higher mind. And he is now with higher mind. So, a person who has Buddhi is called Buddha. You see, in the ancient terminologies, that's why if somebody is doing something like yoga, then we say yogi. You see, so they turn it around like that. If you have the Buddhi, then we call you Buddha. That's why they called him like that. That now he's using higher mind. That's why I was telling you, when the other side activates, so his side activated and the connection became full. The connection with the divine opened out. Just like the same thing like the apostles. You see, the same thing. It's only terminology, it's different place, the same thing happening, but they call it different terms. And sometimes when you don't know, you think that one is from some source, and something from here, something from there. It's lack of knowledge.
Akwanya also mode amami ese mene etitiri enso eni enkomo emfa yeduane die ho me pese me ye correction kakra ansana matoa me kasa so University of Ghana Legon ana me wie enye Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology ye noti eno yo asem kakra I'm also tempted to speak English because now it has become not everyone in the program may understand the Akan Twi language. So permit me to use English to interact with you. I hope I'm permitted. Thank you. GMO in full meaning is genetically modified organism. Okay. And you can't genetically modified organism. I can kase muno. You be kase abodia yasesa nisu ene ne ban ana brofumuno ye kase ye kan ye be kano twa ye akan kase mu enti brofo ye genetically modified no ekire say science anase abodie mu nhwehwemu abehu se ubetumi ede onimdie adane abodie esu amana ye senia wo pese uhunu efa ewo asasi a yetisoi. This means science has gotten to a level where you can use scientific knowledge to manipulate organisms to behave and appear as you, the scientists, want. And anytime some of these decisions are made, they work at the genome level of the organism. Nature say, emprebia abodiemu hwehwemu for ebe person betimi ede won nyansa ne wonim de asesa abodie ni su ene ne ban ayese ne omo epe no na omo benya abotre na omakọ nipa akwa no bia ye frɛ no ese ɛhɔ ana enipa esu ene ne ban ɛhyɛ aseɛ ɛde efiri ɛhyɛ aseɛ ɛde free ye ka sɛ brofum genome level no a na kyerɛ sɛ it is dealing with the DNA, the RNA, the genes, and the entire cell system of the organism. And the cell system is what in science is called the basic block units of life. So the cells form together what we call tissue, and then the tissue form together what we call organ, and the organ form together for what we call organ system, and the organ system form the organism. So it's a process. Then the organism itself will also find itself in a habitat, and as the organism exists in the habitat, a combination of the habitats form what we call systems, and the systems form organisms of systems, or organisms of systems. So organisms of system form what we call ecosystem. Then the ecosystem together will form what we call the universe as we have it. So the interactions begin from the basic unit at the genome level called the genes, which are some kind of coding on the DNA and the RNA. And this DNA and RNA works on what we call the protein arrangement within the human body, because every human being or every living organism depends on the arrangement of the protein system to function in this universe. So for you to be able to have even the mental capacity to prepare yourself to think of higher things or abstract systems, then definitely you must have a very clean or pure or natural system of the protein arrangement within the DNA and the RNA or the genes. So science knows this very well. So in order for individuals to rule the world without coming into contact with human beings, they realize eating of food is central in the way that human protein system can be formed on the DNA or the RNA or the arrangement of them to form the peptide, or what you call a long chain of protein arrangement, which shows the human existence in terms of the physical living body or conditions of the human being. The America or Brofumu na kakra and say yefa abodie no a o abodie mu hwehwemu di wo nyansa pese osesa wo nsu no a ye wo ade bi wo yaduane mu a ye di a ye se eno na ehyehye ye esu no ebi te se ye niwai se ebeye te se yen eja nom de a eye enoma bi a ewo ye mu a efiri bibi a ye frɛ no protein ewo brofum ana etimi boama yetimi enya pepepe sene sese yani eye na kyerɛ sɛ sene ne nananom ete ana ye janom ete no se ye tokoso efa won akwan so a saa na da ye ben yensu ye be wo ye ma ote se yen ajanom na kyerɛ sɛ ya ma bibi e friend sɛ nature ana abode no aye pepepe sene eye efiri emfitiase a ansana ye beto no na ye ka genetically modified food no a na kyerɛ sɛ ebo modern sɛ ebema de ewo ho dada great spirit sene ye hunu no eye no ewo abode ho no betimi ede saa nimdeɛ no adane saa ye nipa no esu nania epe no won enya ebi ne sei emre tintina atwamu no na enipa bi wo nimdeɛ abehunu se onipa dasani udidi na wanwe enam na woma se protein na wo pe a na wapɛ enobaya a udi a etimi ma saa protein no ebi wo ho ebi a wo pɛ ahoɔden ye wo ahaban enanuane a udi a ebetimi ama wo ahoɔden ebi a na wo pɛ apomodene ye wo enuane ne ahaban a udi a ebetimi ama wo saa adeɛ no nanso so won behunu sei no ebeye sese onipa dasani timi didi yi a se obeyare na obeka se okope ayaresa no eye dene ese ebesie obi a odidi ewo abode emfitiase akwan a ode to ho ese ye nidi no ofaso didi no saa enoma no entimi ento na ekuo bi nso ewo ho a won de ogidi se onipa yare eye emfaso ede wan abrabo asase so HSA, the more people get sick, the more they make money. Simply because once you are sick, they will have to give you the various artificial chemicals that have been produced to you. And as you take those pills as your food, you become dependent on it. Sometimes you go beyond dependency and become a kind of slave to the various artificial drugs that they call medicine for you, which you use to cure a particular problem. So, in realizing all this, genetically modified organisms targeted food. And in targeting food, I've shared with you already that they will want to see a weakling society so they can profit from the weaklings of the people in society. So how could they achieve that? They could achieve this through the kind of food you eat regularly or the kind of food on your table. You want to eat orange, but here lies the case: the orange has been modified to contain the genes of, let's say, chicken. So to you, you have plucked orange to eat, but in reality, in terms of genetic arrangement, you are not eating orange, but you are rather eating a chicken. So in effect, somebody will say, I'm a vegan, a vegetarian, so I eat only plant-based food. But if genetically modified food comes into the picture, they can force you to eat meat without knowing, because some of the fruit you may be plucking from the tree by scientific knowledge has been modified to possess the traits and the genetic system of animals. So you are not eating plant-based food, but you are eating a particular animal which you may not know at that particular moment. So some of this knowledge will help you to also become a bit alert on being careful of what society provide as food and what you will provide for yourself as food, simply because this has a future implications on your own spirituality and health. And if we are able to guard against such a system, then indeed we can keep practicing a lot of our spiritual activities without being affected by the kind of food system created in our country and or in nations. How can you do this? You can only do this by identifying what we call biodiversity has a lot of natural-based plants. And what do we eat for? We eat for some basic minerals in this life. Some of these basic minerals are magnesium, which protect our health system at any level. When you have it more abundantly within the body in a form of ions, it is able to keep you fit against any form of disease that comes or hits, whether it is a periodic or it is a sudden action of health problems affecting everybody. Iodine is also one that also cushions the body system to be able to stand or be able to grow well as a human or a living organism. There are a lot of them: calcium, the essential oils, the essential nutrients, and the various micro and macronutrients. But at the end of the day, we should remember, time seems not to be on our side for me to continue this, so I'm carving it up so we really understand genetically modified food, natural food, and how onward we can do match selection to help us prolong and live healthy all the time, because our health is based on exactly what we consume on regular basis. So in carving it up, what I'm sharing completely on this is that genetically modified foods is basically an artificial food that has been produced by multi-international agribusiness companies. They produce this foods with its own herbicides. They produce food with its own chemicals to control pests and plant weeds with them. In doing this, they push away a lot of the natural nutrient that must be within the plant. When the plant comes into contact with the chemical, some of this iodine, magnesium, they all deplete them. But when it is natural, you have them intact, and that helps you to keep building yourself. And indeed, everything that is artificial or genetically modified has its original form, which when you and I search, we can have. If tomato has a genetically modified tomato, there's definitely a natural form of tomato. If we have garden as genetically modified plant, we definitely have garden as natural plant, which means that onward we should be able to help collecting some of this natural counterparts of the artificial one created in the system based on just financial money making aspect, business making aspect, rather than the health of we, the individuals and the citizens of the country. We will look forward to this and propagate them and consume them for stability and for good health. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
We thank Kofi for what he has expressed. Actually, it's one of the things that Great Spirit is concerned about. So I actually got him to begin because he has some knowledge on the natural system, organic system. So our organic farms, he is the agri officer. Yes, where we were talking about the Guru Purnima, the Teachers' Day that we are celebrating, and I was talking about how the name came about. It's because it was a full moon day, and Lord Buddha got the realization. It is a realization everyone is supposed to attain. It's a journey, a return to union with the Great Spirit. See, and the important thing now is that Buddha had questions, but when he became Buddha, see, he was called Gautama, but when he became Buddha, no questions anymore. When the apostles, when they also got the realization, the fear, the anxiety about the Romans, the Romans were very powerful and they were controlling Israel at that time, and it made the apostles very afraid when Christ left. So one thing you can notice that when that thing happened, fear, it was gone. Anxiety, it was gone. Ignorance, they were ignorant even when they were moving with Christ. Because, for example, they believed that if somebody is not circumcised, God hates him. He should not talk about God. But the Great Spirit has nothing to do with your circumcision or not. The truth is beyond that. But when they got a realization on the Pentecost day, all these things were gone. They also believed that those who were not Jews, they had nothing to do with God. The topic of God, no. So when the thing happened, they were going right to the Gentiles right to the Pharisees and all, whatever. They were going to them, and they were just fellowshipping with them. What does that mean? Because that thing, when it happens, you don't know about race, you don't know about tribes, you don't know about anything. It's just oneness of spirit. You see beyond the body, the equipment, and then you see the spirit in a person, and you talk to the person as your brother. That is why when the people were looking for Christ, even though he was young, and the mom came and said, "Hey, we've been looking for you so much. I told your brothers to search for you." They say, "Yes, anyone who is talking to me is a brother." You know, and the mom was, "Wow, what kind of reasoning is this?" You see, because with that realization, there isn't anything. You go beyond body. You go beyond body, you see spirit. If you realize your spirit, you see the spirit of the other. If you see yourself as body, you see the body of the other. This is frequency problem. You see? So, Buddha got it, but it was through questions. And I want you to understand something. If you have questions, it means you should grow. Babies growing up have a lot of questions. And when they grow, those things they were questioning before, in the Accra language, they say, when they grow, they also know it. You see? So when you grow, when the connection becomes full and your aura opens out and your brain becomes complete, then you know all the answers. That is the time you are grown. So we haven't finished growing when we haven't reached that stage. Are you with me? Yeah. We should understand this. People have a lot of questions. And sometimes, say, like the apostles were doing, we believe. Oh, we believe you. They believe in Christ. They believe in what he was preaching. And but then when he left, then the questions started. Even before he left, there were some questions. Sometimes they will ask Christ, "Hey, we were healing when you were doing it, we were also doing. But there is this blind man, we did, we couldn't do it. Why?" Then they asked him. He said, "Yes. In actual fact, there are certain things he could not go deep." He said, certain things, unless that thing happens for you. You see? But he knew that time will come that they will also have it. That's why he promised them. At that stage, he was one with the divine, and he could see into time. So that is why he told them, time will come, you also have it to be sent to you. But when he used some words like to be sent, it is because of their level of understanding. It's not something far that is going to come down the way people believe. It's already around you, but the connection to it, to your small energy inside your body, connecting to it is so small. So when it opens out, then it's like it came from somewhere. It didn't come from somewhere. It's already available all around. The divine is available everywhere. That is what makes the divine omnipresent. Omnipresent means everywhere. It's only tuning in is where the problem is, but it's everywhere. So sometimes people go to holy places, but they don't know where you are is holy. It's only your mind. When you tell your mind some place is holier than where you are, then you have to go and search for that place holier. But because of your mind, it made some things happen there to conform to your belief. But everywhere, God is there. Truth is here, right now, where you are. So the holiness is within you. If you bypass it, searching. See, when we say seek and you will find, in actual fact, it's not like travel around seeking or go to the net searching. It's not necessarily so. You see, when you come to the teacher, the teacher is outside and you are here. So you are seeking answers from the teacher. But in truth, the true teacher is teaching you to turn your outward move inward. The answer is here. You see, that is the real teaching. So it's not that the truth is with the teacher. The teacher is teaching you where it is. And you must go through some techniques to open it up and realize it yourself. Are you with me? So, you remember, I've mentioned it several times, when the Pharisees, they approached Christ and they asked him, you are always talking about kingdom, where is it? Then he said, if somebody comes and tells you, it is for the eyes to behold, for the eyes to see, that it is left, it is right, it is up, it is down, tell the person it's a lie. The kingdom of God is within you. That is Luke 17:20. People will read and bypass it and still they are looking for God in the sky. You see, the truth, we bypass truth. And that is why people are suffering. That's why people are suffering. If you get the truth, there is peace. It opens out and you are peaceful and you are loving and you are joyful. But if you keep chasing it externally, in the long run, you drop dead. You never found it. You never got it. Those who have been doing it, they have been doing until they drop dead. They go around the world searching for the truth. But the one working for the truth is the truth himself. So he's searching for himself. It's unfortunate. How can you find yourself outside? You see, the truth is here. So the true thing is that you need to be helped to discover it inside you. It's never outside. Not on the net. Not anywhere. Not even with me. It's something I direct it inside you. That is what I'm doing. And you get the truth. That's why he says, when you get the truth, it will set you free. It doesn't mean go around the world looking for it. No. When I brought the teachings out, it brought more seeking spirit into people. And a lot of people were now going onto the net looking for the truth. But they didn't keep quiet to listen carefully what I'm saying. That is why they are doing that. So if you are on the private lessons, you have the seeking spirit, try to understand my message. It's not accumulation of knowledge. No. So that you go to the net and search and get plenty knowledge. No. That's one, we used to say, chew, pour, pass, and forget. You get, or you who didn't walk with him, you walk about claiming that you are realized, so you believe, and because of that you are saved. The test has not come. That is why you are saying like that. When you are tested, boom, you are down. You see, we have to be realistic. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. See, so Brothers and sisters, time is up. Time is up. All of you are going to get the opportunity to bring about that realization, and your spiritual energy will merge into the divine. And once it does, it happens. It is like when you open the eyes of a blind man. Whatever you tell the blind man, it will never be the same as when you have opened the eyes. You describe color to the blind man. You describe things to the blind man. And he said, yes, yes, I believe, because I know you are telling me what you are telling me is true. But all that is nothing compared to opening the eyes. So something practical has to happen. It's not a question of telling what you are realizing to the person and he believes it and he's walking about that I know. So that blind man is saying, now I know how an elephant looks like. Now I know this and that, and he's going blind and talking about it. And that is really funny, because he hasn't seen before. So he takes somebody's word and he imagines it and says, yeah, that is it, that is it. So brothers and sisters, time is up. It's not mere hearing, reading and all that and believing. It's not deep believing. The deep believing is when you realize the truth. And then the deep believing, because you are the thing itself. You experience it. No question about even believing. You already realize it. The word realize means you have become that. You have become that. See, so this is the challenge that is being thrown to you today. See, but you are fortunate. It's not something you are going to go anymore into a search through books, a search through net, and so on. It's brought to you, guiding you that a thing is inside you, and just how to bring it out. That is it. That is it. Whenever Christ did a healing, do you know what he did? The truth is, your own light, which has become small, pushes light from his own into yours and opens it a bit, and a miracle takes place. It's your own light which opened it. His is helping yours to open. Your own light opens and the thing goes away. So try to understand. It is your own power within you that does the trick. As I say, your belief did it. You opened up. Belief means you opened up. So your belief did it. See, you may praise him, then he tells you, don't. Your belief did it. And don't go do the same things which make your light go down. That's why he used the word sin. He used that word because that is what they can understand. But the deeper meaning of the whole thing, you are here now getting. I'm giving everything to you so that you can understand. See, I've always told you when Daniel was placed in the lion's den, it wasn't like somebody seated up there. That is the Judaic beliefs. God sitting there watching on and doing this and that and that and that. No. The light around the man, the frequency, the energy level, it was peace, peace, peace. It's just like when you have a flower. The flower has a scent, very nice scent. So your spirit, take it like its scent is love, its scent is peace, its scent is joy. So it comes from you. It's part of your nature. You see, it's part of your nature. It's not that you have to struggle to love, or struggle to be peaceful, or struggle to be joyful. No, it's your nature. But it's covered up and it has become very dim. This has to be opened out. And that is, so the lions, they come into his field just as the apostles will get into the field of Christ and they were empowered. And that time he is healing, they are also healing. So these animals, they come into Daniel's field and it's like peaceful, peaceful, peaceful. That is it. Nobody somewhere was calculating anything and making it that these lions, no. It's not like that. It's not the truth. So the empowerment is inside your very self. Don't give powers to some demons and fight them. When you give power to witches, then you have to fight them. When you give power to demons or to Satan, then you struggle with them. When you give power to God, then you worship him. But when you unite with God, where is he separate from you that you are going to worship? The highest is not worship matter. I have to tell you the truth. You unite with him, you are one with him. He's not separate. He's not distant. But you are nearing the place, worship is okay. But when you are worshiping, don't think it is the end of the journey. You haven't reached the journey end. Journey end, you become one with him. He's not separate from you so that you see him over there and then you worship him. No, he is the very you. You can't identify yourself different from him. So where is the question of worshiping? Who worships who? Because you are united. Are you with me? So the goal is not reached just by worshiping. The goal is not reached just by worshiping. It's supposed to bring you closer, but it's a process sometimes misunderstood because people think that is the journey end. And it's unfortunate. We should grow. We should grow. The growing is a process. The growing of the plant is a process. The growing of the baby is a process. And questions reduce for the child. He sees the fire. What is it? And he goes to touch and it burns. Then it's like, oh, the law of this thing is that it burns. He has learnt it. So the question in the mind of the child as is going, this thing is nice. Is it a good thing? Is it a nice thing? Then it burns. Then he knows. Now he knows. So life is a learning process. We're growing. But where are we growing up to? The final point is union with that great presence from where we came. You're drawing closer and closer to the source from where you detached. And then, and you are there. So, when you have questions in your mind, it means you haven't finished the journey. And you can't just believe and your questions will end. It's just like somebody is having some questions and is written the questions on paper, and then said, the teacher is coming. And he's thinking, I will put these questions to him. Then at a point, he overheard the teacher speaking to somebody that the most advanced of my students, they have come to the end of questioning. They don't have questions anymore. He heard it, he overheard it, and immediately he placed his question paper under the carpet when the teacher was coming. So it's like he has no questions today. He has no questions. So he wants the teacher to believe that he's an advanced student. He's an advanced student. He has no questions. But he didn't know, teacher knows that thing is, that thing you have placed. He said, but what about what is you place? He said, pull that thing from over there. So sometimes we behave this way because when we hear that being advanced means this or that, then we pose ourselves like we are advanced. But you see, when it's like that, it's also not. It's not so not. It's not. So why? Because the advancing is based on growth. So you have to grow. Have a way to grow. And when we are growing, then our faith is also growing. When you are growing spiritually, then your faith is growing, because what does it mean? It means that you are becoming truly say, if I believe in some creature and I imagine the creature, there is power from within me passing in through my belief. So if I believe strongly, then I'm actually creating, because you are powerful. So that thing will come into existence. But because you are not grown, that thing is temporal. It will vanish after some time. So sometimes people will see some form, let's say an angel, a being, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. But that will fizzle out after some time. You are great. You don't know you create. You don't know you create. Sometimes people talk about invocations and all that. Now you go through a process, do all kind of things you set around you, and then you call a being to come down. What is this power that commands and something comes down? And you don't think that thing is powerful, but the thing coming down is powerful. Are you with me? You are commanding something and it comes down. But if you are not powerful and something is coming down and that thing is powerful, you are in illusion, because the most powerful can call something to come down, and it comes down. So we actually belittle ourselves, and we give power to that which has come, and we kowtow to that. And when you do that, well, it will behave exactly as you attune your mind. So you become a servant of that. But you, the same person, if you are tuned properly with understanding, then you see you are so powerful and it's your creation. So you tell that thing something, you decree, and that thing will follow it. You understand me? You decree and that thing will do it. You decree and it will have to vanish. You are powerful. All these are your own creations. But you can kowtow to it, and that thing will also behave like it is your Lord. It is all your mind. It's all mind. So I'm taking you to where you discover yourself, who you really are, and what you can do. One of the things is that when the teacher should maybe display something right now, something miraculous, something wonderful, in this zone, every advantage, there is a disadvantage. When you do it, the disadvantage is that the people look down upon themselves and they kowtow to you, and they all think only you. They don't know the thing is inside them. And that is why sometimes we have to slow down even on miracle making. Because every advantage, there is a disadvantage. You are so powerful yourself. Otherwise, Christ won't say, if you know the truth, you do greater than I came to do. When he was giving the people prayers, he said, you say, our Father. He didn't say, you have to say Jesus Father. But the people still do this and say, only you, the Son of God. I'm telling you the truth. That is, he didn't come for that purpose. To project himself, no. But to teach, so that people will get inspiration from what he does, that you can also do the same. And they mistook everything. They didn't understand. So, lo and behold, there may be great things to be done, but we're also cautious about doing. We want you to turn the attention to the greatness in yourself. Yes. Otherwise, as you see, maybe I just do, there is something. Everybody, hey, wonderful. And from there, it's wonderful. You are wonderful. That is the thing I want you to know. So, in this generation, we are starting with the truth that sets you free. No, Christ said something. You of little faith, unless you see signs and wonders, you will not even believe the thing I'm telling you, that the kingdom of God is within you. But you don't believe it, and you want signs and wonders. Unless you see signs and wonders, you won't believe what I'm telling you. You understand what? That is the thing. So, in a sense, I'm not here just to show any greatness like that. Even though, I must tell you, realization of the truth makes you great. You are already great, but it is covered. It's like you are wearing a mask, and somebody takes the mask off from himself and tells you, you know something? If you can take the mask off, what I am now free and I can do, you can also be free and do. And then the people say, no, you are the only one. And we will wear the mask. That is funny. See? And the mask is limiting them. Maybe it's metallic mask. Sometimes you see these robot things and they can't move properly. It's like that. And then just throw that off and move. And you are liberated. And he said, no, only you. So, brothers and sisters, as long as you can be sad, as long as you can be angry, as long as you can be anxious, the journey has not ended for you. As long as you have questions, the journey has not ended for you. And continue. Follow the directives and get liberated and help the rest. Help the family. Help the children. In fact, after our program of going around the regions, we will have Save the Children program. After going around the regions, we will have a national program in Accra. And after the national program, we will have Save the Children program. But I want most of you to reach the level where you will be channels of the high, the divine. So you increase the thread of connection so that it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. I've seen some of you, it's becoming big. It's no more thread. It is like my finger size. Some of you. And if you continue properly practicing, then it becomes bigger and bigger. My hand. And then it goes on and on. And that is where you hear the divine. Like we say like a prophet. It's like, it's not like God is over there and is speaking to the prophet or his imagination. You are realizing him, and as he expresses through you, it is perfect. The pronouncements about tomorrow, about things happening in the distance, everything is perfect. And all of you are in a position to express it. So, today, the Teachers' Day, you've done a lot to organize it. There is something in addition to it that I'll call your attention. It was exactly 14th July that I brought out the first private lesson to the world. And you see, nothing is accident. exactly 1 year, it just comes together with the full moon. And not ordinary full moon, appreciation of what you have had on that day. So from there, what has been given you, there is monitoring from higher level, how the appreciation of it has gone so far. And you didn't fail. You have done very well. You responded to the inner promptings for you to organize this. And it will help you a lot, because Great Spirit has responded, and I'm giving you the response today. The response to what you have done is that when I go out and I give teachings to the public, YouTube, Facebook, or whatever, the television, that is the basic lessons. The private lessons I brought to you so far is intermediate. So you have won the opportunity to have the advanced. The inner promptings that came to you to organize this, if you fail to respond to it, you would have missed something. So all that has been given you in the private lessons is just the intermediate. And what has reached the public outside is basic. It's a basic course. All that I speak to the public is basic. It's preparatory. And those of you who have registered and practiced some, you are in the intermediate section. And from now on, the advance will be arranged. And I'll appoint a date, and the programs will continue. But there will be some difference, because I would like to complete the tour to Shanti region, Bron East, and Ahafo at Sunyani, Kumasi and Sunyani. And if Eastern prepares, I may also have that one before we do the national one. There are people in the other regions, but what it is, let's take, for example, the Volta region. There are many of the, let me use the word Voltarians, who are already in Accra, and they are inside the Accra program. Many. So if we don't get arrangement over there, we are already having it here for them. But a region there can also join. They can join at Kofodia. Kumasi 1 and Bron, those in the northern region may join. Now, with the advanced, when we get to the advanced, just like the private studies, Actually, the knowledge is free. The knowledge is free. If the arrangement for it to reach you has to go through the professional videographer or video machines and so on, definitely we have to get some fee for registration. Not only the videographer situation, like the basic, for example, we had to have the lighting systems. We had to also have something like a studio. We are working on studio arrangement, soundproof, and all those kind of things. Knowledge itself I'm giving you is all free. But the medium through which all these things will reach you, that is why some fees come inside. So try to understand. Right now, if you go around the world, and even one of the techniques I'm giving you is being given somewhere, the amount they pay to join. And it's not anything but just one of the techniques. Huge. Huge. I'm giving you plenty techniques just to facilitate your movement. And it is all free. So. Yes. So there isn't too much I want to say, but this period there are more things going to happen in the world. A lot more difficult times coming in the world. It will increase. And the reason is that when the direction is wrong, things are designed to deter people from going that direction, and they are stubborn. They'll go that direction. And then a lot of problems. And the meaning, the other time I explained to you, the meaning of the problem is, where is your divinity? The problem comes to question you. You are divine. Where is it? And that is the meaning of the problem. So if you go the direction where you are covering your divine nature more and more, then the problems will increase to question you. Are you with me? When you are pulling away and you are throwing the dust from yourself to reveal your divine nature, problems, they go down. When the sun comes up, shining, showing its light, the darkness, the fog in the morning at the mountainside, very thick. But when the sun is coming up, then all these things vanish. So when you reveal your divine nature, the question mark of problems will stop. It is questioning your divine nature. Where is it? So, brothers and sisters, at this stage, I know you may have some few questions. I want you not only to think of yourself as going to elevate yourself, think of the others also, side by side. I mean, the people who are covering themselves, they don't know what is what. Don't victimize them. Don't use chastisement. Don't use anger to approach them. Rather, pity them. Dust is upon their light, and they don't see well. And because they don't see well, they look at you also, they don't see you well. And because of that, they abuse you, but they are abusing your equipment. It's not you. The you is hidden inside it, perfect. And they see your equipment. Their own equipment is confusing them, and they see you, and that is the matter. That's the problem. That is why the Christ was saying, Father, forgive them. They don't even know what they are doing. Forgive them. You see? So it's not a question of chastising the so-called, the West use this enemy, the West use this sinner, and all that. What I taught you right now about the youth. You see the youth coming up, you are angry with them because they become drunkards, they become drug addicts. You have your kids, they are entering these things. It is that thing covered. He doesn't know how to open it. He's stressed. He doesn't know what to do about life. Some years back, somewhere around the 70s, when you go to the West, especially America and some parts of Europe, there were these children growing up, their parents very rich. They have everything. And even if they don't work, they give them money. Sometimes even at the end of the month, they give them money. What do they need? But do you know, many of them left home. They are fed up with home. So is it all eating, sleeping, and every day this, every day that? So what is all this life? So they left home. And they were called hippies. If you heard that word before, hippies. And they wander about, they sleep in the street, anywhere, they want freedom. What they want, they don't find it. It's not that they are poor. Everything is there. But the kids, then they go smoking, doing other things. Even now it's happening. You go to overseas, a lot of people, the headache is our children, they are all drugs, drinking, misbehaving. Why? They are fed up with life because what they are looking for, you give them this, they do you give them this, they do it's not it. So they don't know where it is. They don't know where it is. They are confused. See? They are confused. So this is what is going on. They are looking for the right thing, but they don't have the way to get it. So you are all going to be channels so that we transform. But charity begins at home. That is why we're starting with you here in Ghana. When I traveled to UK, They invited me there for the retreat. And it's like you'll be surprised. Many of them sometimes wish they could come back to Ghana just because of this knowledge. Because for once, they are seeing this is truth. This is truth. They want to come. So if charity is beginning at home and you fail to pick it, how unfortunate it will be. So those of you who are already with the knowledge, try to be practical, and you will not be the same anymore. The time you spend to try to think for solutions, if you use that time to grow, you find that you are above the thing that you wanted to solve. You grow, and you are getting above the thing you want to solve. If the aeroplane is a living creature, if the aeroplane is a living creature, it is going down like this, it's going to crash. It just got up from the airport. It didn't go this way. It is going this way. It will crash. Then it is looking for a solution how not to crash. Why not do this? Is it simple? Just go up and no crashing anymore. So grow. You have to grow. You have to go up. No crashing. The tree is there, the mountain is there, the house is there. The mountain, tree, you came to meet them. You are the aeroplane, you came to meet those things. So you feel moving among them is a problem for you. You'll be crashing. You dodge this problem, another problem. You dodge this one. There is this. Just go up. Where are they? They are still in existence, but it's not your matter. It's not your matter. You can sleep very well because those things are not your matter. They can't do you anything. They can touch you. The light around you, darkness cannot enter. So what is your problem? Things of the darkness you are still worried about. You struggle with. Where is your light? Brothers and sisters. So I will give you some time to ask a few questions. And we bring this great thing to a close. So thank you all for coming, and you also help other people to know. And it's a wonderful thing when you help somebody, you also receive help. This is a spiritual law. So, thank you.
Very big one again. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Questions and answers. I believe we have more than extra questions that we will do. We'll find a way. Is there a question? 1 minute. Let's look at the order. If you have, okay, let's say 3 people ask questions. He answers, then we call another 3. But if you have more than 1 question, you ask the question each other. If you have 3 questions, you answer. You ask first question, he answered. Then you move on to the second question. He answered. Then you move on to the third question. Okay. So we start.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for your teaching this afternoon. Okay, so I would like to ask, you were speaking, you mentioned miracles, and then you've once spoken also about when we become enlightened or when our aura shoots up. Whatever we put our mind on comes to pass, like whatever will make it our purpose. Okay, so I want to make an example. Let's say I'm a politician. Okay, so I know this position, when I take it, I'll be able to make things better. And then I get enlightenment and I put my mind on it. So is it going to happen, or because life is also a drama, if I am not the one meant to be in that position, it is not going to happen? I don't know if I've made myself clear. That is my question, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Desires, things you want to do, things you want done. When you have the realization, even desires begin to vanish. It's like you are content. So much joy in you, so much peace, and so much love. So it's what can be added to it? Almost like nothing. So the only thing you pick is compassion to help others. So if at that stage you have a desire, it's just a desire to help others. So if the desire you had before will really, really be the basis to help, then you can maintain it and you focus on it and it will materialize, it will happen. You see, when a river is flowing to the sea and you want to reach the sea, you join the river will help you to reach there. But if you are swimming against the current, then you won't reach the sea. So if your desire is not genuine to help other people, but also to maybe to amass wealth, then when you realize the truth, that desire will cancel out because you are satisfied. So what for? Those things don't become a part of you anymore. But the mystery is when you decide to help other people, whatever is needed for those things to happen start coming to you. So it's not like you are even thinking of having this, having that. You are no more having those desires. But the desire to serve, whatever is needed for it to happen starts coming to you. If something doesn't come to you, it means it may not be needed for that service. You see? So it's such a wonderful state. When you reach it, some of the desires you were having before and the plans you were having before, they might have the basis of selfishness inside it. But once you get realized, the self aspect is no more inside it because you are okay. You see? But if you can't have sincere desire to serve the people, then it's like you will not even focus there. You see? But if you focus on getting the position, then it is not a position to you. It's rather, it is service. You see? There are two things going on. The desire to be served and the desire to serve. And when somebody becomes a realized soul, He has a desire to serve. No desire to be served. He has desire to serve. Even though people may serve him, it is not direct desire. The desire is to serve. But then the great power brings the things which will make or facilitate the service that he is doing. So it will bring the things to him. It's not like he is desiring them. He's desiring to serve. But those things are attracted into his field because he cannot have need. So if he is sincerely thinking of something to happen, then things will come. Why are the things coming? Because he is the owner of all the things. And the things are of low frequency. So he is superior. So when he thinks something, the things themselves come to fulfill it. Are you with me? Yes. So that is the situation you will be in.
You mentioned that there are going to be some hardships that is going to question our divinity. I would want to know, is it possible that we could know these hardships? What are they? How are they going to be like? And number two, to Brakofi, about the food. Yes, I know that we've started our farms and we are trying to work on getting our own organic product. I would want to know from Brakofi, at this point, we don't have our farms yet, and especially we the women, we still go to the markets and we get food for our children, our husbands, our families. Is there anything we can do with the current food that we have in our markets to correct if there are any poisons or there are anything in them that can hurt our health or affect our health? With the current situation and what we have, is there anything we can do? Rapidly, thank you.
The point is, sometimes people ask me, but even though I'll tell you something, remember that I'm really trying to bring you to the point where you see, you know, rather than being only the only source of knowing is me. No, the source is inside you. And I want to lift you to the point where you see, you understand, you know, and so on. That is why sometimes I limit speaking much. See, whatever we know is not all we say. And it is purposeful. The reason is so that we can concentrate on lifting you up. Then you yourself can see, you yourself can know, and so on. The tendency of people is when you are telling them, you become the source of their knowledge. But the knowledge is inside you. What I'm saying is coming from inside. So it can come from inside you also. That is why I limit so much speaking about certain things. But the little thing I will tell you is that, you see, as long as people are not growing, like what I have explained to you, as long as people are not growing, it will change from one thing to the other. When the aeroplane is not lifting, if it is not a tree, it will be the house. It dodges that one, then there is the mountain. So always there is something in front. Are you with me? Yes. So a lot of things are in front. And the world, especially you have the opportunity to raise your frequency and then these things will come down, or at least it will skip you. It will not be on you. So you keep your practices to raise yourself. When the ailments like COVID and so on came, it is like something the world wasn't expecting. But it's amazing that they were not expecting it, because when you function on some level, all these things are just there. They are just a matter of time. Then they show themselves. And like it is expressed in some places, wars and misunderstandings will reach levels where there will be a lot of violence and so on. And these things, there are a lot of close things. And even on the world level, those who were agents being used to bring more problems like this COVID, they are not done. They are not done with the humans. They are indoors working new plans. They are working new plans, and some things are going to come up again. Some things are going to come up. See? Yes. So, but we have to help our children. That is why I'm talking of coming up with Save the Children. Yes. So, that is it.